All right, guys, we want to take one further look at some concepts, crossover concepts between both geometry and algebra. So um, we're going to say here, find the perpendicular bisector of the line through negative 2, 1, and 6, 11. So now I'm going to run you through that step by step, but I'm also going to uh, show you this on Geometry Sketchpad so we make sense of it geometrically as well. Okay, so here we go on the Geometry Sketchpad. Find the equation of the line, which is the perpendicular bisector of the segment containing negative 2, 1 as point A and 6, 11 as point B. So, of course, first thing we want to do is draw that segment. Now, if it's a perpendicular bisector, the bisector, of course, means it is going to pass through the center of that segment. So we need to find the midpoint of that segment, okay? And of course, if we can find the midpoint, we know we can find it through a formula as well, okay? So we're going to ask here for the coordinates of that. It seems to be 2, 6, but we'll do it mathematically as well, okay? Now, if I want to go perpendicular to this, then I need to know, okay, what is the slope of that line? So I'm going to ask what is the slope of that line. The slope is going to be 1.25, which should be the fractional equivalent of 5/4. We'll find that. And then what I want to do is I want to go through that point D, with another line which is at right angles. So I'm going to construct the perpendicular, selecting my point, selecting my segment and my point, and construct the perpendicular, okay? Now, with that line complete, I should find that that slope of that line is, of course, the opposite reciprocal of 5/4, which will be negative 4/5. We'll find that. As we'll show you, this, of course, is a right angle. And now, of course, we want to find the equation of that line. So we know it goes through this point D at 2, 6, and it has a slope which is negative 4/5. So what is its equation? Okay, so we'll figure out, we'll ask Sketchpad to tell me what its equation is. There it's telling me what its equation is. Now we'll go and we'll show you how we do all the algebra that goes along with that question. So go back to your worksheet now, okay, and we'll look at this, okay? So let's proceed with this. Every problem that I give you here is pretty much identical, and it's just a process. The steps I'm going to run you through here on this one are going to be done with every problem, okay? So first order of business is to find the midpoint. Don't forget the midpoint formula. x1 plus x2 over 2, comma, y1 plus y2 over 2, okay? Which means, okay, going into that formula now, that's negative 2 plus 6, okay? Don't make a mistake. If you need to, go identify x1, y1, x2, y2. Do that for yourself. If you get things confused, just do that, okay? Over 2, and that's 1 plus 11 over 2. So the midpoint, negative 2 plus 6 is 4 over 2 is 2. 1 and 11 is 12 over 2, which is 6. So my midpoint is, as we saw on Sketchpad there, 2 comma 6. Okay? We now need the slope. Okay? Let's not forget the slope formula. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Don't get them confused. If you labeled the points up here from the beginning and you remember the formula, you'll be safe. Okay? So that's 11 minus 1 over, okay, 6 minus a negative 2, which of course becomes 10 over minus a minus goes to positive, okay, which of course becomes 6 plus 2 or 8. Now, whenever you can, you should reduce your slope. It'll make your calculations easier. So this does come down to 5/4 as my slope, okay? And so that is 5/4 as my slope. Determine the slope of the perpendicular. Well, then the perpendicular would have the slope perpendicular, again, flips this over to 4/5 and changes the sign. Now, that should agree with everything we have so far as we showed you on Sketchpad. Okay, we found the midpoint, 2.6. We found the slope, our 5/4, which is the decimal equivalent here. And the negative reciprocal, which as you can see, is the opposite of 5/4, where it's negative 4/5. Okay, let's come back and finish the problem now. Okay, coming back to finish the problem. All right, we're asked to find the equation in standard form, ax plus by equals c, of the line containing the point from step A, that's the midpoint, okay, and having the slope from C. That's the perpendicular slope. So here we go. We're going through the midpoint, 2, 6, and some other point, again, general point xy, and we're using the slope being this negative 4/5, the perpendicular slope. Line it up. So it's, again, it's y minus the y value, y minus 6 over x minus 2, set equal to the negative 4 over 5. I always choose, if it's negative, to put it with the numerator. Just makes life a little easier. Cross multiply, that's 5 times y minus 6 is equal to negative 4 times x minus 2. Distribute 5y minus 30 equals negative 4x plus 8. And move the x over where it becomes positive, 4x plus 5y. Add 30 to both sides, and we should get 38. So we now know the equation of the line, which is the perpendicular bisector of the points negative 2, 1 and 6, 11. So that's 4x plus 5y equals 38. So this is step by step what we need to do. Determine the midpoint using the midpoint formula. Determine the slope using the slope formula. Determine the perpendicular slope, which is the negative reciprocal. And then lastly, using the midpoint with the general point xy and setting the equal to the slope as found in step C, the perpendicular slope. Follow those guidelines for every problem, and you will do fine. Okay? That's it.